Okay. Good morning, class. So today we'll try to see some of the approaches that we have for word sense disambiguation. And if you recall, last time we said for word sense disambiguation, the idea is whenever a word is used in a sentence, it's going to have only one sense, even though from the dictionary or from the lexicon, we know that a word might have more than one definition or more than one meaning. Whenever it is used in a sentence or whenever it is used in a context, we know that it's going to have only, or it's going to carry only one of the senses that are available. So for this reason, there are many approaches that we can do word sense disambiguation. The first one is knowledge-based method. Mind you, knowledge-based means it depends on the amount of knowledge that you have about the language, about the meaning and the sense of the words. And in a knowledge-based approach, what we know is the knowledge is going to be documented either in a dictionary or in a thesaurus, or in a discourse, which means between the relationship, using the relationship between words. So the relationship between words is the knowledge that you have in a language, or a dictionary, which is going to give you the definition of words, is also knowledge of a language. And a thesaurus is the one that gives you the synonym and the antonym of a word. So that's also a knowledge base that we have in a language. The other approach, the one that we have discussed last time, is a supervised word sense disambiguation. It means we are going to make use of a learning approach or a machine learning approach. But in this approach, what we know is the feature would be encoded along with the sense level, which means whenever you have a sentence, okay, whenever you have a sentence, like a sentence of such a sort, ለምሳሌ ገና ሲመጣ በግ እንገዛለን ብንል, now we know that the word gana is ambiguous. It might mean Christmas or it might mean not yet. So what we are going to do is in here, we are going to put some piece of information. We are going to say this is holiday. So it means the word gana in this is to mean the sense holiday. And we are going to have many such kind of sentences, okay? The idea in a machine learning approach is we are going to have many such kind of sentences where the sense of the ambiguous word is annotated in the document. That's what we call is the sense level or the category. So maybe we'll have another one like ልጁ ና አልመጣም ብለን ብንጽፍ ደግሞ እዚህ ጋር, then in here we are going to say this is time ልንለው እንችላለን, because it is referring the time, the notion of time, not yet ለማለት ነው. So we are going to provide many such kind of sentence for the learning approach, okay? Many such kind of sentence. Then the machine is going to learn from this that whenever the word gana appears with maybe liju or almetam, it depends. Or whenever it appears with the word gana appears with simeta, beg, gaza, then it will say that gana is a holiday, but in such kind of senses, gana is reference to time. So a machine can actually be trained using a supervised approach. Mind you, supervised means that we are guiding the learning process. But in case if it is unsupervised, which is the second case, in the case of unsupervised, what we are going to do is there is no class level. Okay, there is no class level. So what we are going to do is the machine is expected to group words. Mind you, whenever it is about the Christmas or the sense of Christmas associated with the word gana, then some of the words would have a property. ለምሳሌ እንደዚህ ብለን ብንጽፍ አዲስ ልብስ ለገና ተገዛልኝ። እንደዚህ ብለን ብንጽፍ ምን ይሆናል? You see, there is some sense that is similar. ለምሳሌ ገዛ የሚል እንትን ይመጣል እዚህ ላይ ገዛ የሚለው ነገር ይመጣል. And we are going to have many such kind of cases. Maybe we are going to say በጉ ለገና የተገዛውን ይመስላል. Or so some of the words would have some similarity. So the machine learning approach in the case of unsupervised might collect this sentence together and say in all these senses, the word gonna is having similar meaning ብሎ ይይዘዋል ማለት ነው knowledge. The same is true for the other senses. So that's what we call is the unsupervised approach. So we know that the learning approach can be supervised or unsupervised based on whether the sense level or category is tagged or not. Mind you, the difference between supervised and unsupervised is that in the case of supervised, the sense is already tagged. ቅድም እንዳልነው ገና ብለን Christmas፣ ገና ብለን time እንዳልነው the sense category or class is already identified. But in this case, the sense category will not be shown. ከዛ ውጭ ግን the data is the same. The training set of feature encoded inputs አለን ሁለቱም ላይ, but we know that the category or the sense level will not be done in the case of unsupervised, okay? So one of the knowledge base, mind you, one of the approach that we have is a knowledge base. One of the knowledge base that we have for semantics or word sense disambiguation is what we call a WordNet. A WordNet is a huge and a very important language resource that we have. And it is a detailed database of semantic relationship between words. Mind you, you have to notice this. What we call a WordNet is a database of a semantic relationship between words, which means maybe the word language and the word relationship might be related, or the word famous and the word Princeton might be related, or the word English and the word Miller might be related. But that's the whole idea. Mind you, I'm not saying that they are, but the sense of a WordNet is trying to create a relationship between words. So we want to create a relationship between words in the language, and that relationship will help us to create a semantics between the words. And it would be used for word sense disambiguation. So this can be built for any language that we have. Now, one thing that we know is most of the European language like English, French, German, and other many languages have a WordNet. And one of the examples that we have is a WordNet developed by George Miller from Princeton University. And what he has done is it is for the English language. He collected 144,000 words, 144,000 English words, okay? So he created a list of words from the English language, which is the size of 144,000. And from these 144,000 words, you know, there are words that belong to noun, adjective, verbs, and adverbs, okay? And he tried to create what we call a synonym relationship. Mind you, what we call a WordNet is a semantic relationship between words. If you remember last time we talked about synonym, antonym, homophones. So what he has done is he created 109,000 synonym set of relationship between words, which means those 144,000 words are related using the synset synonym. Synset እንለዋለን, okay? The semantic relationship type that is selected would be called synset. We'll see examples. And some of the synsets that are available for you to work on is, you can have antonym, for example. Antonym is talking about opposite, like front and back. Mind you, the word front is an English word. The word back is an English word. But these two words can be attached to one another using an antonym, like dark and light, black and white, tall and short, big and small. እነዚህም በሙሉ, mind you, these are English words. But these words can be attached to one another using the antonym synset. Synset የምንለው የrelationship type ነው. Mind you, all these are synsets, which means a semantic relationship sets እንደማለት ነው. Okay, so this is what we mean by a way of creating a WordNet. Or it can be an attribute. Attribute means one is the attribute of the other, like they might have a noun to adjective relationship ሊኖር ይችላል. Or pertenem የምንለው አለ, like alphabetical and alphabet, adjective to noun. Or similar or synonym የምንላቸው, unquestionable and absolute. Cause and effect. Okay, kill is a cause and die is an effect. Holomenius የምንላቸው አለ, a part and a whole and a part. Okay, ሁለቱ, one is opposite of the other. So for example, the English word chapter and the English word text can be attached with holonym synset to mean that a chapter is part of a text. Or you can say a whole and a part, which means a computer is larger than a CPU, which means that a computer is, you know, the whole compared to the part which is CPU. So this is about one being a part of the other. So we have many different kind of synsets. So most of the time people create a sense set using, most of the time, using antonym and synonym. Most of the time it is synonym that is highly used, so that we can see related words. So you can have such kind of relationship between words, like for example, using the biological hierarchy, like you can have animalia, which is crocodiles, or arthropodia, then you can have insect, and it goes on like this. Okay, this is a hierarchical relationship between words. Or you can have such kind of relationship like artifact can be a motor vehicle, but a motor vehicle can be a motor car, go-kart, or truck. A motor car can be hatchback, compact, or Ziller. So you can create such kind of relationship between words. Okay, in this case, we are creating a superclass subclass relationship, or a generalized and a specialized class. But we can have a more sophisticated kind of wordinate. Have a look at this one. This is a very small, mind you, it's a very small wordinate for the English language. But as you can see, some of the areas are condensed, like this one. And some of the areas are, pretty much dispersed. For instance, if you see this one, okay, if you see only this one, let me see if I can have them, the highlighter or the pointer. No, let's have the highlighter. So if you see this one, we are talking about the word defend, okay? But the word defend can be taken synonym with oppose, hold, support, or maintain. You see? Like you can say, I am defending a Kalan, I am actually, opposing something that's coming against me, or hold ማለት ሊሆን ይችላል, or support ማለት ሊሆን ይችላል, or maintain ማለት ሊሆን ይችላል, or it can also mean represent, you see? So the word defend can be related with represent, oppose, hold, support, and maintain. So as you can see, the word defend can have all these, 5 possible synonyms. But have a look at such kind of a word, the word make. As you can see, it is more condensed. So let's see it in much greater focus. So the word make, it can mean reach, it can mean prepare, for, establish, build, name, cook. You can say make a dish. It means cook a dish, or cook a meal, or clear, okay, heat, give, realize, score, fix, huddle, create. So it means now you can create a relationship between the words. And this is a big semantic knowledge that you can have. And this is very important for translation. This is very important for information retrieval. This is very important for question answering. This is very important for many other NLP applications. And we call this a wordinate, okay? And a wordinate is a very important tool to have a semantic relationship between the words. The other approach that we have for word sense disambiguation is what we call how to learn a word sense disambiguation. Now, most of the time, people treat it as a classification task, okay? Or it's a classification problem. Why do we say that? Because we know that a word can have multiple senses. This is what we have. For instance, if I give you one word, let's call it term 1. In term 1, term 1, it can have definition 1, okay? Again, it can have definition 2, or it can have definition 3, okay? Okay, it can have definition 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7. Now, what if term 1 is found in a sentence? Let's say, if I have the man saw the term 1 right here. In the sentence with Taganu. Okay, let's say that you have this sentence. Now the question is, what is the sense of term 1? Is it definition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Now the question is to make a classification. Term 1 should be either of one, these two. It has to be definition 1 or definition 2. Up to definition 7. Now the question is to classify term 1 to either of the 7 definitions that we have. That's why we say a classification is, or what we call a word sense disambiguation is a classification problem. So it is treated as a classification problem with the appropriate potential sense of a target word given its part of speech as a category ሊሆን ይችላል። So you can assume a part of speech, whether being a noun, a verb, or an adjective, to determine the sense of a word. You can also encode the features using different kind of approach. Okay, you can encode the feature using annotation method. So what we are going to do is, in a machine learning approach, we train the classifier. If the information is tagged, you can give it to the machine learning approach, model, so that it can be trained, mind you, as I said earlier, with a labeled data. The labeled data is the sense of a word is already tagged. If you have a sentence which says ልጁ ገና አልመጣም ብዬ ብጽፍ, now you have to tag it አይደለ? annotation የምንለው እሱ ነው። ስለዚህ እዚህ ጋር የምንመጣና this is reference to time ብለን ታግ እናደርጋለን። So that's what we mean by a labeled data, encoded using the features. And you can give such kind of sentence to a learning algorithm so that it can create a relationship between the words in the sentence and the tag for that ambiguous word. So we can use or train our classifier using such kind of contextual feature. Now, the question in here is, what do we mean by a contextual feature? Mind you, the feature that you can have from a dictionary, which is a definition, or from a WordNet is already known. From the dictionary, you will have a definition. From a WordNet, you will have words that are related with the current word. But there is also a question of contextual feature. So what do you mean by contextual feature? So what we mean contextual feature can be classified into these four categories, okay? Contextual feature can be surrounding bag of words. So what do you mean by bag of words? It means simply a list of words that are found near the ambiguous word. Or you can use the part of speech, mind you, part of speech ማለት ምን ማለት ነው? What do you mean by part of speech? መኮንን, what do you mean by part of speech?
Part of speech የሴንተንሱ ላይ ያሉ ክፍሎች ማለት ነው። የወርድ ክፍል
አይደለም። part of speech ምን ማለት ነው?
ለምሳሌ አንድ ሴንተንስ ውስጥ ያሉ ናውኖች፣ ቨርብ፣ አድጀክቲቭ መለየት እንደማለት።
part of speech ስንል the word class of a word ማለታችን ነው። whether the word is noun, verb, or adjective ማለታችን ነው። በቃ that, so part of speech means a word class ማለት ነው. And the known word classes are noun, adjective, verb, article, preposition የምንላቸው, adverbs የምንላቸው ማለት ነው. Okay, so sometimes looking into the part of speech will also help you to disambiguate. The other one is what we call local collocation የምንለው. Local collocation is words that are adjacent to the ambiguous word. Mind you, the difference between the third one and the first one is the first one is bag of words surrounding other, whether to the left, to the right, 5 to the left, 5 to the right ሊሆን ይችላል, anywhere ማለት ነው in the sentence. But local collocation is immediately adjacent to the ambiguous word. The last one is a syntactic relation የምንለው. Syntax will also help you to identify or to disambiguate, and that's what we call is contextual feature. Mind you, context ስንል always we are referring to the sentence in which the ambiguous word is found. ቀደም እንዳልነው, if I simply say ገና ብዬ ብጽፍ, or let's say the word ምንድነው ባት ብለን እንጻፈው, if you have the word bat, then there is no context in here. But what if you say the bat flew ብዬ ብጽፍስ? Now in this case, what we call a context is this sentence, because this is a context where the ambiguous word appeared. Or you can say he hit the ball with a bat. In this case, this sentence is what we call the context. You see? Context is the sentence in which the ambiguous word appeared. ዝም ብላችሁ ambiguous word ብቻ ብታስቀምጡት, there is no context in here. እዚህ ጋር እንዳልኳችሁ ለምሳሌ what is the meaning of bat ብላችሁ, all possibilities are true. All definitions are true because the word bat is not used in a context. What we call a context is whenever this ambiguous word is used in a sentence. Whenever you use it in a sentence, we call it a context. Okay, don't forget this one. And whenever we say contextual feature, it means a feature that's found in a sentence ማለት ነው. And one of the feature is surrounding bag of words. Feature ማለት property አይደለም? So the words that are found in that sentence can be used to disambiguate, or the part of speech of the neighboring words, the part of speech of the words that are found next to the ambiguous word can be used, or local collocation, which means words that are immediately adjacent to the ambiguous word, or even the syntactic relation in the sentence can be used to resolve this. But what we know is from many researches or by many practitioners, what's known is single method will not give you a solution. ለምሳሌ simply using surrounding bag of words might not be, sufficient enough, or simply using local collocation might not be sufficient enough. So most of the time, people try to combine or integrate this approach. ስለዚህ maybe surrounding bag of words እና local collocation አንድ ላይ ልናይ እንችላለን, or part of speech was bag of words ልናይ እንችላለን ማለት ነው. So most of the time, best result is found by integrating or by hybridizing this multiple approach. Now we are going to see each of them separately.